Good morning, everyone, classmates. Um, I am Timothy, and me and Miss Rulas are going to discuss about the savanna ecosystem. So first, what is savanna ecosystem? The savanna is defined as a grassy plain in tropical and subtropical regions with few trees. Savanna also has a diverse ecosystem. Savannas are most commonly located in what is called the transitional zone of grassland and forest or desert. The transitional zone is where one biome changes into another. A majority of savannas are located close to the equator, meaning that they are located in warm places. It is often defined by its scattered, spread out trees and shrubs. The savanna covers approximately 20% of the Earth's surface and holds many of our beloved animals. So now you can see pictures of world map, and those with highlighted orange color is where the savannas are located. You can see that almost half of the Africa is surrounded with savanna. Few portions in South and Central America. Australia is also well known from its rich savanna biome. And in Asia, we only have savanna in South Asia. It is located in India to be specific. The large savannas are located in Africa near the equator. They cover about half of Africa. Large areas of South America, India, and Australia. The most known savannas are the African savanna and the Australian savanna. The soil is usually porous and allows water to drain quickly. Savanna ecosystem can be found in almost every continent except in the Antarctica. Other locations of savannas include Africa, Australia, Central and South America, and southern part of Asia. So now let's talk about the fauna. Fauna of savanna ecosystem. The savanna is home to many large land mammals including elephants, giraffes, zebras, rhinoceros, buffalo, lions, leopards, and cheetahs. Many of the savanna biome animals are grazing herbivores that migrate through the region. They rely on their herd numbers and speed for survival as the vast open areas provide little means of escape from quick predators. If the prey is too slow, it becomes dinner. If the predator is not fast enough, it goes hungry. Camouflage and mimicry are also very important to animals of the savanna. Predators often need to blend in with their environment in order to sneak up on their unsuspecting prey. But prey also use the same camouflage technique as a defense mechanism to conceal themselves from animals higher up on the food chain. So for example, the bath adder is a snake with sandy coloring that allows it to blend in with dry grasses and shrubs. So the savanna is home to many of the world's favorite animals, each contributes to helping the ecosystem from collapsing. For example, the elephants. Elephants live in this tropical savanna. They're the largest land mammals and feed off the many shrubs and trees, allowing for grasses to grow in for other animals to eat. Because elephants are so large and have thick skin, it makes it hard for other predators such as lions, leopards, and jaguars from feeding on them. Lions are also inhabit the savanna. They are very powerful predators of prey, pretty large mammals like gazelle, zebras, and buffalo. Oftentimes, when they are done, they leave scraps that scavengers eat, like the vulture or hyena. Lions are very important for their survival. Zebras mostly feed on grasses and shrubs, and they are fed on by lions and hyenas. Zebras are known for their black and white stripes covering their bodies. They are also known by their predators from their black and white stripes because you can easily see it against grass. But even though they can easily be spotted, the black and white stripes are used to confuse the predators when they run in a herd. More than 3 million ungulates of 28 species inhabit the region. Migration follow a gradient of forage abundance and nutritional quality. Wild beasts, plain zebras, and Thompson's gazelles are active participants in what the researchers call the Great Migration. The migration occurs when over a million uh, animals, grazing animals, migrates towards water and grazing land during the dry season. These animals uh, spend the wet part of the year on the southern plains. As forage begins to dry and disappear, they move northwest, then gradually concentrate in the northern area near the Kenyan border. When rains resume, they return to south to the plains. Grazing by the migratory species is complementary. Zebras first, followed by wild beasts, and then the Thompson's gazelles. Many carnivores feed on the herbivores. Uh, Dominant wildlife of savanna. The savanna is home to many large land mammals including elephants, giraffes, zebras, rhinoceros, buffalo, lions, leopards, and cheetahs. Other common animals also include baboons, crocodiles, antelopes, meerkats, ants, termites, kangaroos, ostriches, and snakes. Now, let's talk about flora. Savannas provide habitats for a wide array of animals, some of which foster the vegetation through grazing, browsing, pollinating, nutrients cycling, or seed dispersal. Many areas of savanna are managed today to maintain large grazing mammals such as the native fauna of Africa or the cattle used for commercial production in large areas of Australia and South and Central America. Less spectacular but nonetheless the small invertebrates. For example, the grasshoppers and caterpillars are among the chief consumers of the understory foliage, and termites are significant consumers of dead plant matters, including woods. The savanna is home to many different plants, and each contributes to helping the ecosystem from collapsing. The baobab tree is often found in savanna closest to the equator. The baobab tree stores water in its thick, fire-resistant bark for 9 months during the dry season. The bark from the baobab tree can be used to make cloth and rope, while the leaves for medicine and the fruit for consuming. Elephant grass is a tall grass that can grow up to 10 feet tall. It is commonly found near lake beds and rivers where the soil is usually rich. The candelabra tree is usually found near the equator and can grow up to 30 to 40 feet tall. The candelabra tree is a very poisonous tree. If some of the sap from the tree touches your skin, a blister can form. So let's talk about the vegetation. The lack of water makes the savanna a difficult place for tall plants such as trees to grow. Grasses and trees that grow in the savanna have adapted to life with little water and hot temperatures. Grasses, for example, grow quickly in the wet season, when water is abundant, and turn browns in the dry season to conserve water. Some trees store water in their roots and only produce leaves during the wet season. Due to frequent fires, grasses are short and close to the ground, and some plants are fire resistant. So, as you can see in the pictures, it is the vegetation profile of a typical savanna. Lots of grasses and a few trees. It's unlike a forest where you can see that the trees are uh, in bulk, or they are close from each other. So, what are the dominant plant species of savanna? Different groups of plants are prominent in the savanna of different regions. That means dominant species in Central America is different than those of the Southern Asia. So, tropical American savannas. Across large parts of the tropical American savannas, the most common broad-leaved trees are Coratellia, locust berries, and Maricao cimarrons, and Baudicia. Their place being taken in some seasonally waterlogged sites by the palms, Copernica, and Mauritia. Grasses include species of catgrass and bahia grass. East and West. In the drier region, acacias and bush willows are the most common savanna trees, with thick trunk baobabs. Sturdy palms or succulent species of spurge being conspicuous in some areas. There is also a wide diversity of spiny shrubs. Among the most prevalent grasses are species of bluestem, tagine grass, and kangaroo grass. In wetter savannas, Brachystegias trees grow above a 3-meter tall understory of elephant grass. The most common West African savanna trees are in the genera Anogaceae and Combretum and Strychnos. Southern Asia or Indian savanna. In India, the savanna vegetation of most areas have been extensively altered by human activities, which also have expanded its range. Where least altered, Indian savannas commonly consist of thorny trees of acacia, mimosa, and zyphisus growing over a grass covering consisting mainly of saima and dichanthium, the latter also referred to as bluestem. And lastly, the Australian savanna. Most Australian savanna trees are evergreen, surviving the dry season not by dropping their leaves but by reducing water loss from them. The dominant trees of savannas are the savannas in Australia and southern New Guinea are various species of eucalyptus with acacia, bauhinia, screw pine, and other tall shrubs also common. Baobabs are the most common and conspicuous savanna trees in parts of northwest Australia. Tall spear grass or the shorter kangaroo grass dominates the understory of large areas of moist savanna. The prickly spinifex grasses are prominent in more arid regions. And now to discuss further, uh, Ms. Reloza will going to discuss more about uh, the rainfall, temperature, and more. So, Ms. Reloza.
Thank you, Mr. Adele. And now we will learn about the climate in savanna ecosystem. Climate is the most important factor in savanna ecosystem, and since most of the savannas or majority of the savannas are very near to the equator, and so it has a warm and hot environment. In a savanna, temperature does not change a lot, but when it does, it's very gradual and drastic. Dry season that starts by December or January, the temperature ranges from 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, while in wet season, that is normally 6 months after dry season, the temperature ranges from 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. If you noticed, it is cooler by few degrees during the dry season is because savanna is in the tropical latitudes. When it comes to rainfall, there is no rain at all during dry season, and in the wet season, there is at least 100 to 150 centimeter of rain, or there's an annual precipitation of 10 to 30 inches. So, what really happened during wet and dry season in the savanna? During dry season, rivers and streams and other bodies of water that can be found in savanna ecosystem dries up. Water cycle flows down, plants shrivel and even die. And because of this, many animals migrate during this to search for reliable sources to be able for them to survive. And at the end of the dry season, when the rain comes, the rain revitalizes the savanna and provides water to the areas that have gone rainfall for many months. And it brings back the organic matter to the soil and replenish the nutrient level and brings plants life back. Humans have caused a lot of changes to the landscape, to the animals, and to the plants in the savanna in such a way even into modern times. So large areas have been transformed or converted to farmlands, national parks, tourism, and other human activities that damage the ecosystem. One of which is fire. Although some fires occur by natural causes, most fires today as a result of human activities. In the case in savanna ecosystem, fire is mostly intentional because it is an aid for hunting. Like after the grasses have been burned out, the early growth of grasses stimulated by fire has been used or will be used to attract animals. The greater visibility at ground level facilitates easy detection and collection of animals, and so it's very easy for the hunters to catch and hunt. Another one is poaching. This is one of the famous illegal activities by humans in the savanna. And as mentioned by Mr. Adele, savanna is home to different of the world's favorite animals, and this attracts poachers. Large number of animals have been hunted for their valuable body parts. For example, elephants were shot for their tusks, the lion were killed for their fur, and bison were hunted for their meats. While this trade has long been recognized as a severe threat to the food resources of indigenous people and to wildlife population in the savanna, far less attention has been focused on the issue. In part due to the misconception that illegal hunting for these animals is a small-scale phenomenon practiced for subsistence living. Next is tourism. Tourism is an important activity related to the savanna. So the savanna, and in particular the wildlife sanctuaries, offer the opportunity for the tourist to observe, to film, and take pictures of an exotic, particularly fascinating nature, thus becoming an important attraction for tourists and enthusiasts. We can't deny that tourism creates jobs. Tourism brings income to the community, but there is also a negative impact on the ecosystem. Environmental damage occurs when trees are removed to make roads, when tourism jeeps enters the ecosystem and erodes grasses and damage plants. So in that way, animals were interrupted and sometimes results to loss of their habitats. Harvest of trees. Trees are an important commodity in all areas, whether they are being harvested for building, for lumber, for fences, or are being used as fuel. But the harvest of trees could have consequences for the wildlife and the ecosystem itself. Trees in savannas has rapidly declined due to the human activities such fires and charcoal production. The removal of trees could potentially lose the habitat of birds, cover and shades for land animals, and even food. The next one is foreign species. Humans are also disrupting the natural flow of the savanna by releasing foreign species into the wild. The introduction of foreign species to the savanna has been newly considered as a threat by some analysts to the ecosystem. This happened when a certain species was brought to an ecosystem where it does not belong. An example of this is when rabbits were introduced into Australian savanna and they quickly multiplied and spread all over the country. And because of this, there are many types of grasses and plants which are now extinct because of the introduction of these pests. Here are some facts about savanna. Africa has the largest part of the savanna ecosystem on Earth, which is 50% of it. Although there are various types of soil in the savanna, it is not suitable for farming. The soil of the savanna is generally nutrient-rich, largely because of the amount of grasses and animal material that is decayed and returned to the soil. But still, it's not suitable for farming. It's because the temperature is always warm and there is not enough water, and so it will be a very big challenge for farming to set up irrigation and raising livestock that would survive for long dry season. There are many herbivores in the savanna, which also bring many carnivores, and so these herbivores have developed traits which help them escape from predators such as being fast, being large, and being tall. And as you observe, most of the wild animals that can be found in savannas are large and big. Lastly, all the animals and plants are extremely dependent upon each other for food supply. So, if one species of animals were removed, there would be an imbalance of ecosystem, or the whole ecosystem will be altered. And so that is all about savanna ecosystem, and thank you for listening.